Hi, my name is Jim and I was retired. All eyes are on Congress this weekend to see if the government shuts down on October 1st or continues to spend our money in billions. Now, for some, the threat of a government shutdown will disrupt plans, but for retirees, there's less of an impact. We're told Social Security checks will still flow. But what about my game plan for this fall to redeem I-bonds and buy treasuries? Will I still be able to do that? In this video, I'm going to ask, should I redeem I-bonds before the government shutdown? Now, exactly what government operations will shut down in the event of a budget impasse will really depend on what the Biden administration does in following their contingency plans. National parks may close or not, but we're told certain mandatory spending, like Social Security payments, will continue. Now, as I said, I'm not on Social Security yet. I'm waiting for 70. But I am concerned about some key government operations and websites that I will need next week, including TreasuryDirect to redeem an I-bond, and later in the month, Medicare.gov to begin shopping for Part D coverage. Will they continue to operate in a shutdown? I don't know, so I decided to go out on the internet and look for guidance. Now, the first question I looked at was TreasuryDirect. Should I go ahead and redeem that $2,500 I-bond that I bought back in 2010 now before the shutdown? I don't think so. It does begin to earn a much lower rate on October 1st, so I want to redeem it as early as possible in the month of October. But I think I'm going to continue and wait to see if TreasuryDirect operations are up and running next week. I don't believe they're covered by the threatened shutdown. I should be able to go ahead and redeem the I-bond, but we'll see. So I continued to look for guidance, and I found a bunch of articles, and I'll put some links to some articles in the notes below. But this Brookings Institute report notes that only about a quarter of the federal spending is subject to this annual appropriations by Congress. Benefits such as Social Security and Medicare continue to flow because they are authorized by Congress and do not need annual appropriations. Then here's the key sentence at the end of that paragraph. In addition, the Treasury can continue to pay interest on U.S. Treasury debt on time. The report by the Hutchins Center at the Brookings Institute also notes that only about 26% of the budget is discretionary. Another 8% is net interest, and 66% is mandatory spending. The budget impasse is really only about this fraction of federal spending. Congress is supposed to get the job done and approve 12 appropriation bills for that discretionary spending. Now, I saw this article on X, formerly Twitter, by David Wessel, and I asked him in a reply whether it meant that TreasuryDirect would still continue to operate to redeem bonds and pay interest. And he replied he thought so, but later that night he replied with a link drawing my attention to the contingency plan posted by Treasury. Now, the top of the plan notes that the Bureau of Fiscal Service, which manages these functions, includes 3,357 employees, of which 2,991 are covered by a resource other than annual appropriations. That's 89%. It also noted that the contingency plan says that some payments, including Social Security payments and tax refunds, and concludes with Treasury's borrowing, debt servicing, and forecasting responsibilities. I do note that in the paragraph below, it says that some payment disbursements will cease during the lapse. So it's not clear whether if I redeem the I-bond, I'll get the money. I hope I will, but I hope these are different payment disbursements, not the Treasury-related functions. Since I don't need the money immediately, I just want to redeem it early in the month, I'm going to take the risk. If I redeemed it today, by the way, I might be in the same pickle waiting for a disbursement, and I'd still be out the $20 of interest I'm owed in September. Now, why am I redeeming the I bond in early October? Again, you redeem early in the month because you won't get that month's interest when you redeem in that month. You must make it through the full month before you get September's interest. Now, October 1st is when this bond's rate with a 0.3% fixed rate falls to 3.69%. And that's just too low for me. I want to redeem it now and get it into better investments. Now, I bought this I bond in April 2010 and forgot about it. When I had a renewed interest in I bonds in recent years, I looked up the value of the old I bonds that I had, and there were two bonds that I had with 0.3% that I targeted for redemption this year. Now, I already redeemed one of them in this video that I highlighted there, but now that this April bond is out of its high interest periods, it's time to redeem it. I've earned about $11.50 in cumulative interest on it, but to be frank, the I bond didn't do as well as I thought. Now, if you note, my calculation of the compounded annual growth rate was only 2.85% over the whole life of this bond. Now, I am only redeeming I bonds in 2023 because my wife and I exchanged gift bonds last year when rates were high. And if we exchange those I bonds, we will use up our annual limits of $10,000 each. I also think that the fixed rate is likely to go much higher on November 1st, and if it does, that will allow us to use 2024 limits to purchase a much better I bond for long-term inflation protection in our retirement. By the way, if we do get a government shutdown, another report that I read this week noted that it may mean that the Federal Reserve is done raising rates. In this report by Ing Bank, it notes that the delay of the CPI report on October 12 would weaken the case for that last quarter rate increase in November and maybe December. Quote, given the lack of clarity of the state of the economy, it too would strengthen the case for the Fed holding interest rates steady again in November. Hey, please like and subscribe to this channel if you like entertaining ideas from a DIY retiree. I'm not selling a course. I'm not trying to manage your money. I'm trying to share my perspectives so that you can prepare to manage your own DIY retirement. I am not an economist and I'm not a financial planner, so I'm going to conclude with my standard warning. I have no initials after my name, so take these as entertaining ideas from one educated consumer to another. Always do your own due diligence and seek out a professional if you need one. See you next week.